Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about slope-intercept form, which is the way we write, or the way linear equations are frequently written, okay? And we saw these quite a bit when you were filling out the tables. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, and the reason why it's called slope-intercept form is because m, the number in front of the x, is the slope of the line, the rise over the run, and b, which is the number that's going to be by itself, okay, b is what's called the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So if you have a line, let's say like my red line here, the y-intercept would be that point right there where the line hits the y-axis. So that b is that y-intercept. And what we're going to do is not only are we going to recognize equations written in slope-intercept form, we're going to graph equations in slope-intercept form. And there's a very specific set of steps. The first thing you do is you plot the y-intercept. You graph the y-intercept. And that's always the point 0, b, because it's on the y-axis. So since it's on the y-axis, it's x0, and then you travel to the y value of b and plot it somewhere on that y-axis. Then, after you plot the y-intercept, you use the slope of the line to create more points. So you go from the y-intercept and you rise and run to make another point. And then you'll use the ruler to make a beautiful straight line. So let me show you what I mean. Here I've got y is equal to 2/3 x plus 1. My m is 2/3 and my b is positive 1, which means that's the point 0, 1 on the y-axis. Your slope is always in front of your x, and your b is always the number by itself. So first thing to graph is graph the y-intercept at 0, 1, and then travel the slope. So that means rise over run. My slope is positive, so I'm going to go up 2 and right 3 from this point. So we're going to go up 2 and right 3 and put a new point. So up 2 over 3, and that's a new point. And you only need 2 points to make a line. If you wanted to go up 2 and over 3 again, you can put another point, and up 2 and over. We don't have enough space. But you don't need to put so many points. 2 is fine. So I went up 2, boom, boom, and over 3, 1, 2, 3. Make sure my line is going up. Make sure it all matches. Y-intercept at 1. Slope is up 2. Rise 2, run 3, slope is positive, and there is the line y equals 2/3 x plus 1. So let's look at another example. So here we have our slope and our y-intercept. So my slope is 4/3, and my y-intercept is -2. That means that's 0, -2. Now let's graph. We graph the y-intercept first at 0, -2. That's right here. And then I travel my slope to a new point. So from this point, I'm going to go rise 4, run 3. My slope is positive, so I'm going to rise 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and run 3, 1, 2, 3, and drop a new point. So we go travel the slope up 4 over 3 and drop a new point there. And then I graph my line. Let's check. Is my y-intercept at -2? Yes. Is my slope up 4, run 3? Yes. Slope is positive, going up. Whoop, and there's my line. Let's look at number 3. Should be getting the hang of this. This one's slope is negative, okay, with a y-intercept of -4. So let's label all this. My m is -1/2, and my b is -4. That's the ordered pair, 0, -4. So first we plot the y-intercept at 0, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's right there. And now the slope. The slope is -1/2. That means the line is going to be going down from left to right. All right? So my advice to you is that you're always going to do the run to the right, no matter what. It's the numerator that will go up or down depending on whether it's positive or negative. So since the slope is negative, instead of going up 1 and 2 to the right, we're going to go down 1 and 2 to the right. Down 1 and 1, 2 to the right to get my new point. Now, why didn't I go down 1 and 2 to the left? Well, that's 2 negative movements, which is going to make my line go up. If you go down 1 and 2 to the left, drop a point here, your line's going to go up. But this line slope is negative, so the line should be going down. So if it's a positive slope, you're going to go up and to the right. But if it's a negative slope, you're going to go down and to the right. So notice how we're always going to go to the right, but what's going to change is the up or the down for positive or negative. So if we go down 1 and 2 to the right and then drop our next point, I should be able to graph my line. Let's check it. So I have a y-intercept at -4. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. Is my slope going down 1 over 2 for rise and run? 1, 1, 2, yes, down over 2. Slope is -1 over 2, and there's the line. Now, as we look at 4 and 5, and you see whole numbers in your slope, go ahead and remember that a whole number is over 1. So keep that in mind. This is -3 over 1, and this is 2 over 1. And I'll do number 4 with you, and you should be okay to do 5 and 6 on your own. So for number 4, the slope is -3 over 1, and the b is 7, which is the point 0, 7. Let's plot our y-intercept at 0, 7. We always plot the y-intercept first. The slope is not a point. This is a point. So 0, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and now we're going to travel the slope to my next point. This is rise over run. So I'm going to go this way, 1, but I'm going to go, instead of going up 3, I'm going to go down 3 because it's negative. So down 3 and right 1, down 3 and right 1, down 3, 1, 2, 3, and right 1. That should get me my line. Okay, let's confirm. Do I have a y-intercept at 7? Yes. Is my rise and run down 3 and right 1? Yes. And there is my line of y equals -3x plus 7. So try graphing 5 and 6, and we're going to go ahead and look at some of the questions on the other page to make sure that you know what you're doing, but try 5 and 6, and so you can pause the video now and then try it and then unpause to check your answer. Okay, so here are the answers for 5 and 6. Notice my y-intercept for number 5 is at -5. My slope is at 2 over 1. So up 2 and over 1. For number 6, my slope is at 1/4, and my y-intercept is at -3. So 0, -3, and up 1 and over 4. So one by one here, I'm going to give you some tips so that you can work on these on your own. When you see the slope, like on number 7, but you don't see a y-intercept, that's because the y-intercept is 0. So your slope would be -5 over 1. And your y-intercept would be at 0 or 0, 0, which is the origin. So for that one, you would be plotting your y-intercept at the origin and then going down 5 and over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1. Down 5 over 1 to graph your line. Okay? So that will help you with number 12 as well. For number 8, there is a -1 in front of that x. So the m will be -1 over 1, because it's a whole number. You have to put it over 1. And your b will be at -6, so that's the point 0, -6. So that should help you with that one. Let's see what else. Here, again, your b is 0. All right, now the ones where the x is in the back. It doesn't change how you do business. The slope is still the number in front of the x. So for example, for 13, the slope is -1/3, and the y-intercept is 5, also known as 0, 5. If you don't like it that way, then you can write it -1/3 x plus 5 if your eyes need to see it in this fashion. But it means the same thing. You just want to look for the x, because the x is going to tell you where your slope is. The slope is always in front of the x. So 14, the m would be 1 over 1, because that's the number in front of the x, with the b being -2 or 0, -2. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to graph the problems on this page, and then we'll check answers momentarily. All right, taking a look here at your answers for 8, 9, and 10, looking at the graphs, making sure that your y-intercepts match mine, that your slope rises and runs exactly as it says here. Like for example, here it would be from the y-intercept down 1 over 1. Here would be down 7 over 3, down 2 over 1, and that's from the y-intercept to a new point. Now you should be using rulers to make sure these are nice and neat. I've done 11 and 12 there for you. Granted, my 12 is a little squirrely, but you should be able to, at this point, get the hang of 13, 14, 15, and 16. Check in with a neighbor to see if you're doing it correctly. So now that you have completed this lesson, you're going to practice graphing these lines using IXL S6. You'll be using IXL to first plot the y-intercept, and then you'll use the plotting tool to travel the slope to draw your next point. Thanks for watching Graphing Lines in Slope-Intercept Form.